Good morning, guys. It's Chris here again. This is the intro, the only one that you will find in this video. Don't look into that. So we are playing another game of Mtga Misplays where we're trying to get to 3 wins with our janky decks. We are playing Godpharaoh's Gift today, specifically the Esper variant, and our opening hand is not great, but we'll roll with it. We are not here not to roll with it, you know? Got the hang there. Gonna put down our first watery grave. Shock it in. Get down our Citrus Supplier. Citrus Supplier is really good for filling our graveyard, so it should be able to do some good things for us. And our opponent actually decides to answer the Citrus Supplier immediately. That's not great threat analysis, but I'll give it a pass because I don't know what they're running. Might be running something very interesting that for some reason can't afford to have a 1/1 on the board. My guess is that they're probably some kind of variant of Gruul or mono red that just wants to attack me with Invercleave. But you know, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Now, here is the first misplay of the game. Series. Not the series, you've seen plenty of misplays, but I put down the untapped land to get down the Mere Triton a turn earlier, but I didn't realize that the only other land I have in my deck is a tap land, so I won't actually be able to get down my Champion of Wits because Fable Passage will make the land under tap because I don't have 4 lands. But I guess we could say at this point I was hoping to draw another land, but I really wasn't. I just didn't plan it very well. Annex comes down. For those of you who don't know, Annex is a clear warning sign that there's an Embercleave in the future. Annex wears an Embercleave very well, and he often does. He's generally not played by himself, unless something odd is going on. We got pretty well on time, actually. Which is weird, because I tend to ramble a bit and get off track, but we are still on track with the game. We're going to get attacked again. Our opponent is maliciously attacking our beliefs and values of being a slow, dirtly deck. Actually, they're just trying to win the game, but you know, gotta add some flair. And there's the Invercleave. We are dead. That was game 1. And we are moving on to game 2. Let's see how Godpharaoh's Gift can do. We have lost 1 game so far. We have 2 to go. We don't know where it will go, but we are hopeful that we can at least play a Godpharaoh's Gift. I'd like to show you guys how that's done. Many of you may know how it's done, but some of you may not, and I like to do my civic duty in the pursuit of Godpharaoh's Gift. Play down our tap land first, so that we can crack it immediately and get another land. We have figured out how it works, so we do know what to do with it now. That is a key part of any game of Magic. Gonna get our planes. The main little combo in our deck requires us to have at least 1 pip of white mana, so we need to get it while we can. And that is the Refurbish combo, which is where we put our 7 mana artifact in the graveyard, and then we use our 4 mana reanimation spell to get it back out for 3 less mana, getting a discount on some of our colorless things. Always a nice option, always something you should look forward to. Get down our second land and pass because we have nothing to do because this deck is not low to the ground in any way. I mean, it is, but it's also not. Our top end is a little heavy. That's because we're not really trying to play our top end. We want our top end in the graveyard so that we can cheat it out with spells like Reanimation and Godpharaoh's Gift. So we can get down our Champion of Wits. He will draw us a card, and he draws 2 cards, and he will discard us 2 cards. Which in our deck is one of the ways we can get something that should be in our graveyard, but is in our hand, out of our hand, and into the graveyard. Honestly, this recording session went a little bit smoother than I expected. PC lagged there a little bit in the beginning because I had something open in the background during the first 2 games, but I get it fixed by the 3rd one, so it gets a little better. But honestly, it didn't turn out as bad as I thought it would. They play their Johnny piece in this whole life game strategy. I'd say that little flyer there and Johnny's Pride Mate are the creatures that get a +1/+1 counter every time somebody gains life. Which is why they're played with Soul Attendant, because they can get really big really quick. And unfortunately for us, that means we can't take a turn off to do anything else. We have to just kill it. Because it's an immediate threat to our life total that's going to be a problem if we don't. It'll cost us 2 life, but 2 life is a sacrifice I am willing to make for the greater good. For the greater good. Opponent has a Phyrexian Arena down, and they've had it for a few turns, which is not good for us. Generally, Phyrexian Arena is not a good card for your opponent to have, but it's also really not good when they're gaining life back, because the drawback of it is that you're supposed to lose life, but when you gain 2 life every creature you play, I guess that's not as much of a drawback, is it? So you can build your deck in a smart and comprehensible way. It is possible to do so. Is it possible to do so here? Generally not, but it is possible. And hell, we've played some good decks. We've played some fair decks. We've played some fun decks. But, I don't know if this deck's going to do anything. It's beginning to look like we're going to be in a rough spot if we keep on running into aggro matches. And I mean, how many aggro decks could be running around in Historic? It's not like they're a bunch of cheap and efficient creatures. And I mean, to be fair, we've also shown off some aggro decks in Historic ourselves. So, perhaps we're just getting some karma for all the control players we hopelessly stomped in our pursuit of aggro. That's the way sometimes. That's just the way it goes. Hey, kill our creature? We didn't need that anyways. If we needed a creature, we do. We do need it. There's no point in bluffing with you, bros. This is, getting a little out of hand, honestly. We're not doing great. Times have changed, and things have been getting worse here, you know? Our hopeful start with this deck has just started to fade away. There is the Dreadhorde invasion. Not the Dreadhorde invasion. Command of the Dreadhorde. Which means we lose. Because we're not going to be able to recover from that. Well, that was the game. See you guys in the next one. Hey guys, it is Chris here again for another episode of Mtga Misplays. Today we are playing some Esper Godfarer's Gift, a little deck that I've played in the past, not on the channel, but just in general in the past, and it's a fun one. The variant that I'm working with doesn't work that often, which is why it found its way here, but it's still fun. I want to see if we can get a Godfarer's Gift on the battlefield, you know. That requires getting up to 7 mana or refurbishing it. Both the options seem a little bit difficult against a mono-black aggro deck. But, you know, we could get there. It is a distinct possibility that could occur. On to our turn 2. Finlurker comes down. Can eat away a card in our hand, exile instead of discard, which is actually worse for us. We were hoping that if they were going to make us discard, they would have made us do it to the graveyard, but what can you do? We'll have to get our own cards in the graveyard, I guess. Good way to do that is our Citrus Supplier. He is a really good mill outlet, especially in Historic. Although, he has seen play other places as well. 6 cards for 1 mana, pretty decent rate. You do have to get it killed, but generally you can block and that'll get it killed, so it's a decent rate. Oh, this has just been the slowest week. Slowest week. But I don't really expect much, so. And our opponent's attacking in. They are going to... We're going to block. Block the 2-1 because the 1-1 actually has an ability where it can pump for 3 mana, so they could have pumped it and then we would have lost our creature and they would have kept theirs and we would have got no benefit out of the interaction. In Magic, you want to get at least a little benefit out of the action, even if it's not that great, because that 1-1 can come back from the graveyard eventually. It's got a spectacle ability. I don't know if it's actually spectacle, if it's pseudo-spectacle, but it technically does count. Opponent is thinking things over. They are up to 4 mana. We would like to get 4 mana too, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Gonna exile a Lotless Giant. It's a decent little creature. Because we mill so much, it's worth having a copy or two, because when you mill it into the graveyard, if you have a lot of other creatures in the graveyard, it can deal a lot of damage to your opponent and close out the game. Godpharaoh's Gift will resurrect it from the graveyard, so you don't have to worry about that being part of the problem, but... Interesting is, for some reason I decided to commentate Game 3 first. That's weird. It's really weird. I guess we'll need to fix that in post. And we get down our Champion of Wits. Draw 2, discard 2. Good way to get stuff in the graveyard. And if we can survive next turn, we can get down a Godpharaoh's Gift. We'll still be dead on board, but, you know, we can claim the moral victory in that we actually did what our deck wanted to do. Of course, the black deck did what it wanted to do too, which was kill us, but... yeah. We're here for our decks to do good, not our opponents. I'd actually prefer our opponent's deck to do worse if it would, but... I don't know, it's looking like it's going to do pretty okay. And Grey Merchant of Asphodel finishes off the game. If you like what you see, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.